Thank you so much for staying with us on Differences to the Nation. And yes, we're just back from the news center. Now to what we have for you this morning. And yes, it will interest you, just like I mentioned before we went for the news update and mentioned that yes, at a time where parent, guardian, both young and old need to sit back and have this discussion and join this discussion rather because we're already having that discussion. And join this discussion that we'll be having this morning. And the topic of discussion this morning would be a quick money syndrome. Get rich quick. It has become a menace in our society, if not a vices, and seems to be moving gradually to become numb. And there is every need for us to begin to talk about it, so that we will have a way about this matter. When it comes to the issue of these get rich quick, it's already eating deep into our cultural system, and not just that, it's also already eating deep into our lifestyle, where we have generations that coming up does not even have an understanding of what the norms look like. But well, let us establish like this. When it comes to and because it might look like, okay, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So we need to first understand what these actually mean to everyone.
Yeah, I think when we are talking about get rich quick syndrome, that means we are not saying that to get rich is a crime, but how do we go about it?
Yeah.
Are we exploring it legitimately? Are we going by it in a normal setting? That is, you have to work before you get the money. But when we are talking about get rich quickly syndrome, that means how are you getting your money, legitimately or illegitimately? Are you cutting corners, or are you going through some illegal means to get your money? So don't forget, like we said, that what we want to establish is the fact that it is good to be rich, but how do you go about it? Whether through crooked means or some illegal means, that is what we are talking about this morning. And people get rich, people get wealthy, but the way they make the money differs. So that is what we want to establish now. So get rich quick syndrome, in which has become like a trend among young ones today, like a new normal for people who don't want to work, for people who don't want to do what others are doing, perhaps 9 to 5 thing, or learning a trade, or pick up a skills that other people are doing, but they just want to get the money through crooked means, through illegal means. That is what we are looking at this morning, and we'll look at what the consequences are, what are the responsible factors for this syndrome, and of course we look at what is going to be some other lessons that we are going to draw from it as well.
Well,
So
for me,
what's that?
honestly, for me, I would be describing the get rich quick syndrome as the obsession for wealth. I mean, unhealthy obsession, so to speak, for wealth, that is shelving all normal process of growth to seek money. I mean, when people decide to leave the natural law of growth, the natural process of consistency, the natural process of hard work, to ensure that they look for wealth at all means, that is what would clear as get rich quick syndrome for me. And it is unfortunate that we are at a time where both young and old are really obsessed about getting wealth, getting money at all costs. Now, it's not even just about, sometimes it's not even just about money. It can also be about position, about fame. We want to, we see status. We see Dangote.
You want to be like Dangote?
And then
in
if
7 seconds.
a 50-year-old is saying, how come? Why can't I also have a refinery?
Dangote.
Oh, really? Thankfully, there's a song that says all of those things. You see somebody's wedding, Temi Osedola's wedding,
And you picture your
and then you're like, I can have that, really. And the truth of the matter is, you cannot even afford 100,000 naira. But then you now begin to do everything. Like you are obsessing over it day and night, and then you're trying to look for every means possible. And most times those means are illegitimate means.
All right. I think I like the word when you talk about obsession, because it's quite, for my own understanding, it's quite an obsession for fast, wealth, instant success,
Yeah.
flashy lifestyle, skipping the ground. You don't care about the process, skipping the ground. And this is one of the things that lead to Ponzi scheme, internet fraud, and the likes of it that we have. And it's a mindset. That's a fortunate part of this thing. It's a mindset, where people believe that success is instant. Failures are always covered. Nobody talks about it anyways. And we have, people that we call influencers now. Just influence you about the positive way of success and make people to believe that why not me? Why can't I be the Dangote of my time? At 12 years old. Why can't I be that man that has several luxurious cars? We see what other people, artists, who drives or buys, says to buy. I use the word, understand carefully, to buy, latest model of vehicles, And at the end of the day, we've seen some who, their dealers who gave them that car have come out to say, oh, you are still owing me, this fund. But yes, that's a difficult discussion. We'll get to that point. Now, we've been able to establish the fact that quick money syndrome is an obsession, of a world that is not realistic. A step that is jumping gun, a step that is not one time at a time. It's about 20 times, at a time, taken. Now, how did we get to this point? Because that's what we need to begin to look at. We can't talk about situations like this without a trigger. There must be something which has been triggering this in our community. Because I mentioned earlier in our introduction that it's already becoming known if we're not careful. If we want to skip this talk or this conversation, we would definitely at some point talk about the consequences which affect the community or the society. Now, what are the triggers? Let me begin with Adiola. What are the triggers that you feel that, yes, these are the things that are affecting where people think, and it has led to this obsession, this quick rich syndrome that we talk about today?
For me, I think the major factor would be peer pressure. We are in an era where people are fast forgetting that fingers are not equal. I mean, you are in school with a lot of persons, and then from different backgrounds. People whose family can afford 3 square meal. People whose family can afford to give them pocket money weekly. People whose family can afford to even buy them a car to drive as a uni student. And then you who are coming from a background where you can barely eat twice in a day. And then maybe before they're able to gather your school fees, your parents have to take a loan from different quarters. And then they cannot even afford more than 5,000 naira for your pocket money for a whole semester. And then you get to school, you're with a roommate who is living there, who has a car, every week he gets 20K allowance.
Fat back account.
I never have a limit,
Yeah, he or she can just make a call, and then money flows in, and then you feel that pressure to meet up with the standard of that person. Now, if care is not taken, you also begin to look for ways to meet up. So that's why if somebody comes to you and say, oh, there's a scheme, I can see that 5,000, I can give you 500K in 1 week, then you begin to consider it. Okay, if I'm able to get 500K, I can also, even if I can't buy a car yet, I can also afford to go to the latest mall in town. I can afford to, maybe your roomie buys fast food every day. So you got, me too, I can afford to buy. As in, you now begin to calculate money that you have not received. You're now calculating, like, doing all manner of mathematics concerning that. So if you're not careful, you begin to, even if it's not Ponzi scheme, if it's prostitution, somebody says, oh, per night now, 50K.
Hook
And
up.
hook up, okay, so but then it is prostitution.
Yeah.
So but then in this generations lingua, hook up, and then it tell you 50K per night, and you also begin to calculate, okay, and maybe I'll just do it 1 week. I might not be doing this consistently, so that because you're also thinking of the risk involved. And then you begin to, so you get involved in that, even if it's not that. Somebody is telling you that, oh, there's a man that all you just need to do is go. See, they'll just give you one soap, one sponge, 12 midnight, you will bathe. And before you know it, open your eyes, the next day, people will start dashing you money.
Yeah.
And then even if it's not one man, girls these days, they'll tell you, oh, there's this waist bead. There's this handband.
Bracelets.
There's this, like there's this perfume. There's this powder. Just rub it on your face. Anybody you see will be like, no. You know, sometimes when people say these things, I'm like, is it that? But because of peer pressure, we suspend that sense of reasoning. People don't even think they, like, how do you just rub powder? And then people start dashing you money for rubbing powder if it doesn't have consequences.
Exactly.
So basically, the major, for me, the major factor responsible for the get rich quick syndrome is peer pressure, because you just feel like you want to be at the same level with your peers, forgetting, again, I'm going to re-emphasize that, forgetting that fingers
Are not
not equal.
But you will agree with me that yes, we established that it's peer pressure. But I believe that there will be a seed, before the peer pressure will be able to grow or have influence over you, and that's greed. If you are not greedy, no matter what the pressure is, yes, some of us are fast through that pressure, but you know that, you have something in you that goes beyond, the pressure. Either we like it or not, there will be pressure all the time. That's the truth. Our forefathers, have passed through pressure time. They have, even in the older days where we don't have, social media and the likes of it, we have people who are extremely rich, the cocoa farmers. It's not all cocoa farmers that were rich then. Even if when we had, cocoa boost and the stuff like that, not all cocoa farmers are, are that rich. But greed, for me anyways, greed, I believe that when you have greed, peer pressure will be easy, it can easily, affect you. Because when you have greed, you feel that what this person is doing or what this person has, you should also have it. You understand? And most of those days, yes, there are some that are directly, pressurizing you for you to join, for you to do the same thing. Some are just natural. You have someone who is a roommate, who's extremely rich, and you just feel the need to meet up with their standard. And you begin to run it. All right, take me up.
Okay, I'll be coming from the angle of parental influence. And I think this generation we have changed the definition of what parenting is. But parenting has to do with nurturing, correcting, and being responsible. But it seems that we've changed the narrative. How do I mean? Now, for instance, if a child is graduating from, okay, let me cite an example. I remember very well that when my brother graduated from school, for 2 years, no job, and my parents were still giving him money, so that at least he has 1 or 2 things he wants to use the money for. So they were not putting pressure on him that, oh, your mates are there making money, your mates are there bringing money home for their parents and all of that. That wasn't the case. Until he got a job, he was able to find his feet and all of that, and things get better. But in today's world, or let me say today's generation, this Gen Z parenting thing, I think we've seen children as, oh, at a particular age, at a particular stage, you should have gotten to that stage where you should be bringing back to me, not minding whatever the child is doing to make the money. So if you are putting pressure on your child, maybe because you see your neighbor children driving cars and you don't care to know what the source of the car is, where the source of the car is, or how they get the car, and just want your child to also go just for a year or 2 years, and when he or she comes back, it's bringing a lot of luxury and it's bringing a lot of things to you. So it's quite unfortunate that parents are also contributing to this syndrome that we are talking about, because we have neglected some parents, don't let me say some people have neglected their responsibility, and they've, like, the table has changed, the table has turned, that instead of you to be the one providing for those children, you are expecting them to be the one bringing money, bringing cars, doing things for you. So if we are talking about get rich quick syndrome, then we have to go back to our family, we have to go back to home. And these are the same parents that when they were being raised, when they were growing up, they were raised better.
Yeah.
So, and it breaks out that these same parents are now the one that they've forgotten the values that their own parents imbibed in them when they were growing up. And here we are, putting pressure on a child of 15 years, 16 years after leaving school that, oh, your mates are doing this, your mates are doing that, what are you doing, what's your essence in life? As if that is their own responsibility to provide. What happens to you that, okay, if your child is not doing well financially, you are there to support him or her. So that is the case where we find ourselves, and I think parental influence also contributes to this issue that we are talking about.
Yes, I 100% agree that parents cannot be alienated from this matter.
Yeah.
Because, they've done more harm than good in some quarters. And as much as we need to establish that we've got some parents who are doing pretty good, ensuring that they uphold that, moral, ensuring that I've seen parents, yes, we've even seen it on social media, where, a child of, I don't know, 17 or 18, bought his mother a car, and the mother rejected and said, no, you need to tell me the source, of your money. And I think we need to go back to the era where we need to begin to ask questions. People just don't wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm now rich. We need to begin to probe.
Questions.
Yes, we need to begin to
you
ask
indulge
questions.
them. Yeah.
Where did you get the source of your money? I believe that if, we have that, then maybe we will not be talking about, this matter. Because, yes, we cannot talk about, okay, let me go say that's a cultural dominance, dominancy rather, sorry, dominancy. And it's closer to what Tucker mentioned.
Okay.
Because, culturally, we know that, especially in Yoruba land, we know that there are rules that guides the community, the society. If you claim to be wealthy, people want transparency as much as possible.
Yeah.
And over time, we've seen individuals who engage in illegal activities. Once the community or the society knows that in fact, if your wealth is questionable, the community, there's a reaction from the community. That's the culture. There's a reaction from the community, and you yourself knows no amount of money that you have, can bribe anyone, and whoever affiliate yourself with that individual, they might be excommunicated from the community, because the cultural value is there for everyone to be able to, be transparent as much as possible, because we have a cultural understanding of hard work. People believe, and then that while you are growing, while you are working, there is a reward for it.
That hard work pays.
Hard work pays, you understand, because there's a process to it, and that is where you see that. Now let's take a look at apprentice. There's a process. Apprentice goes to, a master. They serve. After serving, they get freedom, and they're free to, establish themselves. That is the process.
Yeah.
And either we like it or not, regardless of how we want to look at it now, there is also the process of being an apprentice somewhere before you become a master of your own, before you have the freedom. And it's the same thing when you get to school. If you are going to education, while in school, you are learning. And when you're graduating with the first degree or your second degree or your doctoral level, you are learning. And after graduation, you are graduating, to become someone who wants to be useful to the community, or rather, a master of what you have learned over the period of time. So, cultural dormancy, is another thing which I believe that we should, take a look at, and ensure that we go back to the time where the community becomes safer, for every one of us.
I also feel like an important factor we are not even considering, which seems to be the bedrock for all of this thing, is poverty.
That's deep. That's deep.
If people are, hardly will you see somebody who is from a rich family trying to seek more wealth. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying it's hard. But then that stays. It is the main reason why people want to get rich quick is poverty. I mean, people, it is also the reason why parents would be pressuring their children, bring me money, even while they're still in school. I mean, you know your child is a student, why should your child be giving you money? And then even when parents are not pressuring, some of them close their eyes to things that their kids are doing. I think yesterday there was this proverb, "Omoe oshagbafo, okashowale," like your child doesn't do laundry, and then he or she brings clothes every time, and
Different clothes.
you're not asking.
Expensive one.
You're not asking. But these days you see students in university
Tertiary
who are breadwinners of their homes, and their parents are
Exactly.
not asking them,
Questions.
where are you getting this money from? And that it is simply because of poverty. I mean, it's a parent who can afford to feed the family
Yeah.
that would question a child who is trying to make their life better. The child that even helps them with the school fees of the younger ones. And which is why these days, you know, sometimes kudos to the mother who rejected the car, but we've seen parents
That will accept it.
They
wholeheartedly.
would even do testimony
Yeah.
in church. Oh, your child that is in university does not have a job.
What God cannot do does
Does
not.
that, and then they would come and celebrate these things and all of that. So poverty is like a bedrock
Yeah.
for this desire to, for this obsession about wealth. Like you really want to, and then people just feel like, oh, it's the only alternative for me to escape poverty. So they jump on it and they are good to go.
Oh, and I also think social media too is contributing to this, because there are a lot of facade on the social media that people tend to pattern their life towards. When you see things on the social media, you see people with flashy cars, flashy dresses. Fine, we know some people have genuine content that they pushed out those genuine content on social media, but a lot of it might be fake, and you think, oh, this person is doing this on the social media, I got to be big, I need to do what he or she is doing, and by all means you just want to get there. I think there was a time when a boy, I think it was a teenager too, was caught, and he said that he learned the process of money ritual on social media, that there was this herbalist that has a content where he pushed out of what people to get. So social media is one of the factors that is also responsible for this, and it goes back to content regulator, which I think it's for the body. A body that is saddled with that responsibility to look into, because sometimes we push out content without minding the people that are going to get hold of that content and how they are going to use it. How on earth will you be pushing content on how people can make money on social media? People that fell victim of this Ponzi scheme and all of that started because they have access to social media and because of some information they get on that platform as well. So these are the things that contributed, and trends as well. Oh, this is what is in vogue now. Oh, it's a bone straight wig that is in vogue now, and I want to get it by all means. We get to know all of these things because of our exposure to social media. Fine, social media has a lot of benefits, but we cannot run away from the fact that it poses a lot of threats, particularly when it comes to its misuse, its abuse, and misinterpreted content that people push out there. But it still boils down to we going back to home, to parenting, and we being responsible. Because if a child is under your care and you are careless, you are not sensitive to what he or she does on social media, you are not sensitive to the kind of people he meets or the kind of things he or she does on social media, and you are just there, you are not challenged, you are just indulging such child, then they will go astray, and before you know it, things will boomerang, and they will find themselves in the situation we are talking
I think
about.
we should not push much of the blame on the parent, because there are individuals who were not trained by their parent.
Okay, well, yeah, that's
You
true.
understand? They were not trained by their parents. As a matter of fact, they don't even, they didn't grow up to know their parent. Maybe there was a tragic loss of the parent at the early stage, and they turned out to be some of those things that we talk about.
Yeah.
We've seen individuals who don't even have parents, and they turn out to be exemplary, individuals, exceptionally good, exceptionally, upright. No, so what do we talk about those ones? That yes, I agree that there are exceptions to every matter, but now we stand there. Now let's take a look at these. the culture, either you want to agree with me or not, now this is factual, the culture glorifies wealth.
Yeah.
And that's the point, The culture glorifies wealth. The now culture now glorifies wealth. So I've seen, a lot of persons who have told me point blank, is that you get rich or you try dying. And I don't want to die, I'm going to get rich. Whatever means it takes is the route we're going to go. Because, except you are rich, except you are there, except you have luxurious cars, except you have a lifestyle that
Yeah.
you can flaunt around, people don't care. And that is where it looks like the social media becomes a place that is safe. Why? Everyone is rich on social media. Everyone is rich on social media. Yes. If I tell you I drive a Benz 2025 now, you wouldn't know because what I put on my post is that same car I tell you I drive.
Yeah.
And, if I decide that I tell you that I live in Lekki, Lagos, I have an apartment in Lekki, I have an apartment in Akobo in Ibadan, I have another one in Aerodrome,
Misleading content.
I can get the content. It's just about having friends or persons there. In fact, you will see further individuals who does not even know anyone in those apartments or buildings, and they get a picture or video of that place. I think we've seen that one happen anyways. And we, or let me say, you that you are watching want to pattern your life towards that path because all we glorify. Someone was saying it one day, wasn't it a few days ago, that she posted, it was she posted something on her Saturday, I guess, a particular picture, and friends that have spoken, to her for a very long time, started
They were
greeting
saying
her
hi.
and say hi. And what did I mention? I said, billionaire was gonna come in now
Yeah.
because you look good. You're posting a picture of yourself looking good. People don't even care that picture you are posting at that time might be because you are passing through something and you want a relief. You just want, okay, let me just, do something, to cheer up myself. No, they just look at it, oh, wow. Look at how sparkling she is in this picture. Look at the background.
She's oozing
As
money.
and we want to, and unfortunately, the era of AI now, has even changed, everything completely. You can be in the comfort of your home, and it looks like you're flying first class. And that's the part. So we need to ensure, look at, that part also. Now, let's not forget the fact that we are in hard times. We're in an era that is tough. Economically, people are not, getting it easy. And one of the factors that now leads to this thing is high rate of unemployment. A lot of persons are not gainfully employed. Look at, the recent recruitment that the federal government is doing. Look at how many number of persons who applied and how many slots do we have.
Yeah.
So the rest of them are going to be pushed down, into the market, having to grapple with what they have. And the glorification of wealth, will not lead to people, and that's why you see that nobody wants to become an apprentice anymore. Nobody wants to learn. No, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because you feel that it will take me 3 or 4 years to be learning this thing. I already have someone, just like you mentioned, someone is offering me the powder, someone is offering me this, that's going to get me in less than 1 day or 2 days, and I'm there. You understand? We've seen a lot of persons who has gone for a reunion of schools, and that's the aftermath of it. They have to just think about it, because these things will make you think about your life. You are having a reunion, and wealth is being glorified. Imagine that the reunion of a school, the head boy of that set came with motorcycle. What is this? You understand? And the list of the guy, I want to say list now. Someone that while in school cannot even write his name. If maybe
Like
the dullest person. I think that's the right word. Comes with a G-Wagon.
G-Wagon.
You get it? Or they're making a donation, and the head girl or the head boy is just donating 20,000 naira, and someone who seems to be the dullest in the class is donating 12 million, and out of the blue is bringing out cash.
Yeah.
You want to think about your life.
Transfer on the spot.
Or making transfer on the spot. And even promising you that, okay, don't worry, just come see me. I'm going to change your life. These are things that I can put pressure because, yes, unemployment is there. And I believe that if people are gainfully employed and you know that, yes, it's legitimate, you have no reason to fear, you have no reason when you have security agencies passing, you have no reason to be afraid of it. Your legitimate job, comes with dignity. No matter how it is, people cannot intimidate you. I believe that for every job, now when jobs comes with integrity of its own, it sends a lot of signals, to people. We've seen journalists who mingle, who roll with, millionaires, billionaires. I've not seen it happen. It might be anyways, but I've not seen it happen that now you're not get influenced, to go in that, in that route. Yes, we've seen people who do shady works, as a journalist, agreed, who takes brand envelopes, because, okay, you want to, maneuver stories and the likes of it. But it's very rare because, the profession is a noble job.
Yeah.
We've seen doctors who treat patients not because they are rich, but because they believe that I signed an oath and I want to be truthful to that oath. We've seen nurses, who treat billionaires. We've seen barbers, who cut hairstyles. At least the rich, the billionaires, the trillionaires that we have in the community, they do anyways. And someone does that for them. So if our job, comes with integrity, to take a log out of this. Now let's talk about the fallout, because this is part where people don't talk about. Everybody just see the glamorous part of this thing that we talk about it, but nobody talks about, what happens at the back end.
So,
We just see someone who, has been living in one room, no toilet, no bathroom. It has to go miles before you have that facility. And in 1 month, drives a Prado Jeep, lives in a very expensive apartment, and nobody's asking questions. And this person also will not come out to tell you what are the things that they are facing. Now, let's talk about the fallout, that we have. One, I'll talk about the moral decadence, which we've talked about, so I don't want to stress that anyways. And you can get scammed in the process. You can get scammed. You talked about Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
That is how I don't know how we want to do that. You want to put 20,000 and you want to get 200,000 naira in 3 weeks. You understand? Return on investment does not actually work like that. And Adiola is laughing. No, Adiola, okay. What do you have to say? I know you have a lot.
No, honestly, when you said 3 weeks, I'm like, like 3 weeks is even long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You've
48 hours. Some people say 48 hours.
You see how they package this, how they package these schemes. Bring 1,000, you will get 10,000 in 1 week. And then you do the first time, you get your 10,000.
It looks real, yeah.
You will get it. In fact, really, you will actually get your 10,000.
Yeah, so that you can share the testimony to others.
Then they tell you, okay, reinvest. Your 10,000, you use it to get 100,000. And then because you 1,000 to 10,000, you are calculating, Kolofa. And then you put your 10,000, you get, some people will even still get that 100,000. And then they tell you, okay, with 100,000 you can get 1 million.
Yeah.
And that is it. People.
And it keeps going like that.
And it's not even within, so when I say people suspend their sense of reasoning, the question you should have asked is, what business are we doing? What business will you do as human being? That you 10,000 in 1 week and you're going to get 100,000 naira.
I don't know the kind of business you want to do.
And somebody is saying, bring it, get it, bring it, get it. So those are the kind of things that people fall for. Exactly. And it is. And honestly, this is not to throw a backlash, but then we've seen it happen over and over. All these schemes where they say you are selling a product, sell a product or you make money, you win a ticket to America, you will become a head to Dubai, they will give you a car. It's also a get rich quick syndrome. And then people do these things. I've heard cases of students who abandon their education to join some of these platforms just because one mentor, I think it's like a ladder, they climb the ladder. Yes. So they say they have a mentor who, and the mentor will be telling them you can make. And the funny thing is, people suspend reasoning, really. When people are looking for money, they don't think. You will see the person that is preaching, that's
motivational speaker.
The issue! Dust filled shoe. That person does not have a car. And the person is trying to convince you.
Sweet talk.
That you have something going on in your life. At least your parents are sending you to school. You have something going on in your life and they are telling you that, don't worry, by the time you bring 2 people, so you can go to Dubai, you can get a car, you can build a house. And I'm like, are you not thinking? And then you see all these young people passionate, or the way they will be convincing you. Somebody has approached me once and I asked one simple question. If it is as easy as you have said, why haven't you made it? And the lady was so upset. I'm like, no, I mean, this thing, you don't have to be upset. Oh. Just tell me why. If it's village people, maybe I can pray for you so that you can make it too. So when you make it, then you can come back. So that I can, oh, okay, this person has made it now, let's move on.
Okay. Now, before I talk about the fallout, I think we should also understand there is a glory behind every story. Okay, that if you see a glory today, there is a story behind it.
Yeah.
Just like the alumni issue you mentioned, that sometimes when you go to alumni meeting and you see people bringing different type of cars, exotic cars, some might actually be, they must have gone through it a lot, particularly when legitimately. So if you are now thinking that, this person brought this car the last meeting and you want to get it too, without you asking questions like, how do you get your money? How do you make your money? So don't just be carried away by what you see. Dig deep into how they make that money, because there is a story behind it. So don't fall for the facade, the pretense, and everything you see out there. And to talk about the fallout, loss of life. This week we talk about a teenage is it in Niger State now, that has to pluck out eyes or maybe eyes of a sister for money ritual. That is a peer part, some part of the body. How about we seeing some guys that they will have to kill on the account of money rituals? So people have lost their life on this account, and it's quite worrisome that no more conscience. They've sold their conscience to devil, that regardless of what they ask them to bring, they'll go to any length in providing it just to get them rich quickly. So one of it is it has contributed to the loss of life. People have died in the process. And for those people that are so quick to jump on Yahoo boys, this lady talking to girls now, that whatever they are just bringing in as much as money, forgetting that you might also be their sacrificial lamb at the end of the day. They might be giving you money, buying you all of the things you require from them, but one day will be one day. You might be their victim, the next victim on the line. You don't know. So loss of life is another fallout from getting money, getting money quickly, that we are talking about. So, and it bleeds my heart that this young generation are not learning their lesson, and they are still falling for this to the extent that they can even go to those people's house, those boys' house, to pass the night without you even knowing them. You don't know their source, you don't know their family background. You just jump into their car and they drive you up to clubs, they drive you up to places that you don't even know. And at the end of the day, you see their corpse by the roadside. So it's worrisome.
Yeah, some don't even die. No, that's the actual extreme anyways. Because people are going to tell you that I've seen several persons who have engaged in it and they didn't die. You understand? But the truth is, nobody talks about it, the mental problem that we have, the mental issues, let me not say problem, the mental issues, the depression that people slip into. Nobody talks about, the suicidal act. You understand? Persons who engage in suicide, the suicidal act, and nobody wants to talk about it. A lot of persons have gone into depression because they just want to get this thing.
Yeah.
A lot of persons have, committed suicide, feeling that, okay, I see people around me, making it, doing this. Why is things not moving fast? You understand? And we should first establish that there are times, there is season for everyone. And it's not the same.
Yeah.
You understand?
Time differs.
Someone is going to get rich, by being a teacher. And someone is going to get rich. I've seen people who, get rich by just selling beans cake.
Yes.
Extremely rich from it. I've seen people who, are rich, because of selling one thing or the other. You understand? And we've seen persons who, yes, they have their job, and from the job, they're getting, blessing, wealth. So fingers, I think you were the one that mentioned that. Fingers are not equal. And you should understand that there's time, there is season for everyone.
Yeah.
And because your neighbor is making it, does not mean that you will run at the same pace with the person.
Yeah.
You might get there, but your timing might be different. And some of the time, not all the time anyway, some of the times, we don't even know that what God has in plan for you is even greater than your neighbor. But it's just a matter of time that you need to relax and calm your nerves down.
Yeah.
You understand? A building is going to carry 15 floor. Will take days to get the foundation strong.
Yeah.
A building is going to have just one floor.
Or a bungalow.
Or a bungalow is going to take lesser days for it. So if you have your apartment and you are taking 1 month to have your foundation, and you are looking at a man who is just planning to have a bungalow or just a floor, who in 3 days or 4 days, the foundation is ready, and you are blaming your God, and you want to do, things, that might go.
And I think
in the way.
that is workable if we don't see life as a competition. Like you are not comparing your life with another person, and you are just running your race slow and steady until you get there. But in as much you see life as, you are comparing your life with another person's life, or you see it as competition, that this person is getting this, I must get it by all means. That is when we can say that, okay, that is why I say that you have to understand the concept of time and season, that time differs. The time when God is going to fulfill your own promises for your life and that of your neighbor differs. So when it's happening to you, it might not be happening the same time with another person. So we want to understand it.
Well, I also feel like even while we keep saying all of this again, I feel like we should go back to the era where everybody, now it is a joint responsibility now, everybody begins to preach that hard work pays, and most especially in our religious institutions. Some years back, when you go to churches, even the preachers, they say it's point blank on the pulpits. Some would even tell you that they will return, if people come for Thanksgiving and then they can't trace their wealth, they return their money, they return whatever it is you are donating to the church, because they want to be sure that you're getting that money legitimately. But these days, you see, people, so religious institutions should also play a vital role by ensuring that you're not encouraging people who just feel like they can take shortcuts. And also, I think by the time, if the religious leaders are being responsible, even parents would be scared to come and do testimony that a child who is in school bought a car.
I think that's it. All right. We also, as media, we have responsibility, and this is for every media person, that you have a role. We need to tell the story, not just celebrating the wins, but celebrating the journey. When we're showing people, what the result looks like, we should be able to tell us
what the journey
looks like. And I think that it goes a long way, in doing that. All right, thanks so much for this conversation. And we're going to end it on the note that quick money may glitter, but don't forget that it rarely lasts. It doesn't last. It may glitters, but it does not last. Don't build your wealth, on sand, but rather build it on the rock. All right, that's much we'll be taking this morning. But just before we wrap up, we have the view of Nigerians. Not just our views, so it doesn't look like, okay, we're just showing you a view. You have views of Nigerians, waiting for us to take a look at it. And until next time, my name is Shegun Fumi.
Yes, I'm Temitope Oladipo. See you next week by God's grace. Until then, do have a fun-filled weekend.
And I am Adiola Degoke. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, so let's take a look at this.
In today's society, many people, especially youth, prefer to acquire money without involving themselves in honest work. This growing attitude has led to increasing in legal activities such as fraud, kidnappings, and other financial crimes. This main cause include unemployment, greed, power pursuit, and the influence of social media, which promotes quick wealth and luxury lifestyles. This behavior weakens moral values, increases in security, and damage the economic.
What I perceive is that there's so much desperation around nowadays. People are desperate for everything. There's so much insecurity that pervades the entire country. So people just want to break out of that poverty cycle. So they are ready to go to any extent, even to make money, even at the expense of their own personal well-being. So the government will have to do something about it. We have to do something serious and very concrete about alleviating poverty in the land. When there is so much poverty, people's survival instinct will grow and they will go to any extent, even to ensure that they survive. That's what's causing all these problems.
Ohun tí mo fẹ́ sọ lórí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ tí wọn ò ṣiṣẹ́ ni pé.
In today's society, many people, especially youth, prefer to acquire money without involving themselves in honest work. This growing attitude has led to increasing in legal activities such as fraud, kidnappings, and other financial crimes. This main cause include unemployment, greed, power pursuit, and the influence of social media, which promotes quick wealth and luxury lifestyles. This behavior weakens moral values, increases in security, and damage the economic. To solve this problem, government should create more jobs opportunity, promote skills trends, and strengthen law enforcement. People must also be educated to understand that the real sources come from hard work, not from crimes.
One thing I just understand in this very community is that the morals are no longer there. As in the people that are giving back now, as in the parent themselves, they don't have that very moral, they don't have that very morals. Let me just put it that very way. So there's no way you can give what you don't have. But nowadays, people want to do anything. Even the parent, the so-called parent, they will assist the children in getting the money by all means, by helping them to do all these very Yahoo things, fraud. So all those very things start from the home. From the home, that is where that very problem really lies. Like now, a 16, 17 years old, maybe people that just finished secondary school, if you offer them 50,000 naira job, they will never do it. Why we that is over like 40 now, we still stick with 50,000, 70,000, we just try to plan our way. See young guys like that using 10 million vehicle. Where did they see that kind of money? And the community will never ask. So it has been something that is, and for now, in the next, maybe the next 10, 15 years, if proper measure is not taken, it will generate to more serious problem that we'll be having in this very country.
To solve this problem, government should create more jobs opportunity, promote skills trends, and strengthen law enforcement. People must also be educated to understand that the real sources come from hard work, not from crimes. Favor Adeleke, reporting for NFTV.